where do you think some of the roadblocks are for HR? You said they have to change as well. So maybe not talking about you personally, but HR in general, where do you think their roadblocks are? Particularly because I've come across HR people who've been very anti-sales.
Mm,
They've thought of salespeople as that lot over there, and they don't even understand what good selling looks like. This has been some of my
mm,
experience across many years.
mm.
So, what are some of the roadblocks do you think that HR themselves have to get over to be able to be these this support system, this
Mm,
guidance system and steward system for business, including sales?
mm. I think HR really has a lot of work to do, and it has to work pretty quickly. It has to reimagine itself and what its role and purpose is in the business. And I think the relationship and uh, the role HR plays around the SLT or the senior leadership team or with the CEO needs to be far more strategic. It cannot be operational. It cannot be tactical. It still needs to have mechanisms in place to respond to those sorts of things. But the real challenge is, I guess, for all HR directors really, is to think about their function in a way they perhaps never have had to or have ever experienced in their past. And I think the challenge is that so many HR folk have never actually worked in a P&L environment or sort of been at that whole phase with the customer. And I think the benefit for me is that certainly I know what it feels like to sit in the hot seat, have to make decisions quickly, sometimes with not all the information, and sometimes, you could come up with situations that just don't fit the policy or the rule book. So you have to be pretty nimble and you have to be pretty savvy around navigating that sort of stuff. And HR's been very, overall, traditionally compliant driven, process driven. It's all about ticking boxes and filling in forms and, bringing in new talent and things like that. And whilst that's important and you can never throw the baby out with the bathwater, I just see the whole profession opening up and changing in a really interesting, dynamic way. And the early adopters, as we all know, it doesn't matter what business you're in, are the ones who are going to be the trailblazers, and organisations really need to get on board pretty quickly and try and step it up because they're going to be so important to landing the revenue targets and meeting the market, because the market, in 12 months' time, completely different to where
Mm. Well, this is what.
faster.
Well, this is why, with your background, you're an unusual person in that you've had line experience and then you've brought that line experience, I can imagine, into your work. So you actually can relate to people and you can, I would imagine, find common ground a lot more easily with people that you work with who are running the line.
Yeah.
So, but we are in a complex variable system, and this ability to be adaptive, to be able to pivot, and actually deal with ambiguity, because that's the other thing I find a lot of organisations don't appreciate, that selling is actually a complex variable system. It never runs on a straight line like a production line would. And
Mm,
so being HR to be able to work with that variability can be a little bit challenging. So having systems or architecture or frameworks to guide us, I found, has been very important.